But he reasoned with Moses because he gave him an opportunity to rebuttal. What do you think? I'll present you with this offer. These people, you see it, Moses. You can't even bear their iniquity. You need help to do so. You see what has happened with their complaining about the water. Again, in this passage in Numbers, it's not specifically mentioned what they were complaining about. I will give that disclaimer. I just believe that it was water based on what happened in Exodus. I don't want you guys to tell them for the sake of those who are listening. You've seen them complain. And then I showed them through wrath not to do this. You've seen them still continue in their complaints and their murmuring about the manna from heaven. Moses, you've seen this. You've seen when your own brother came against you for the wife that you had took. Your own brother came against you, Moses. I'm going to wipe all of them out. And I'll start over with you. If you would like, I'll start over with you and I'll raise a greater nation than them. The Lord had proposed that to him. If Moses had said, yes, Lord, it is good, that is what would have happened. But he didn't. Moses had compassion for the people too. He said, and Moses said unto the Lord, then the Egyptians shall hear it.
That's right.
Amen. For you brought up this people in your might from among them, and they will tell all the inhabitants of this land, for they have heard that you, Lord, are among the people, and that you, Lord, are seen face to face, and that your cloud stands over them, and that you go before them by daytime in a pillar of a cloud, and in a pillar of fire by night. Now if you shall kill this people as one man, then the nations which have heard the fame of you will speak, saying, because the Lord is not able to bring this people into the land which he swore unto them, therefore he has slain them in the wilderness. When he said, basically he's saying, if you are to start over with me, yeah, the people are going to hear that. And even though you were able to bring them out of Egypt, that you weren't powerful enough to defeat the Canaanites, so you just did away with them. That's what they're going to say, God. And now I beseech you, let the power of my Lord be great, according to you have spoken, saying, the Lord is long-suffering and of great mercy, forgiving iniquity and transgressions, and by no means clearing the guilty. Going back, even in this, he was merciful. It still proclaims his mercy that he has. Yes. Did he do these things? Of course. Is he still the same God in the Old Testament as he is in the New? Is he still merciful? Yes. Amen. Does he still hate sin?
Yes.
Yes, he does. Amen. Now this is the part where he makes the cover, where he tells them, that, here, I'll read it. And the Lord said, I have pardoned according to your word, but as truly as I live, all the earth shall be filled with the glory of the Lord, because all those men which have seen my glory and my miracles, which I did in Egypt and in the wilderness, and have tempted me, now these 10 times, and have not hearkened to my voice, surely they shall not see the land which I swore unto the fathers, neither shall any of them who provoked me see it. Now this is what he spoke to Moses. And if you go into this, he explains it even further, where he's talking about, Caleb, where he pardons Caleb in Joshua. It's in the 30th verse. Doubtless you shall not come into the land concerning which I swore to make you dwell therein, save Caleb, I can't pronounce his name, and the son of Jephunneh, and Joshua the son of Nun. But your little ones, which you said should be a prey, implying they're like, well, they're just going to kill our children. Them will I bring in, and they shall dwell in the land which you have despised. But as for you, your carcasses, now listen, but as for you, your carcasses, they shall fall in the wilderness, and your children shall wander in the wilderness 40 years, and bear the whoredom until your carcasses be wasted in the wilderness, after the number of days in which you search the land, even 40 days, each day for a year, shall you bear the iniquities, even 40 years, and you shall know my breach of promise. I, the Lord, have said, I will surely do it unto all this evil congregation who are gathered together against me in this wilderness. They shall be consumed, and there they shall die. The Lord spoke.
Yeah.
And it wasn't a secret.
No.
See, the people knew what had happened just now.
Mm-hmm.
And we know this because there were some of them, when they knew about these things that happened, they're like, well, we're going to just have to go up there then. But God was not with them. God had provided them a chance. God had provided them an opportunity in order which they could have seized it right then and there and went in and to take the land, or they could have chose not to. They made the choice not to, and because of that, they weren't permitted to come in. But when people were faced with the threat that no matter that you're going to die out here, they thought, well, we changed our mind. We're just gonna go up there and we're gonna possess it anyways. It was too late.
Yes. Yes.
Amen.
Yeah.
Is God still the same yesterday, today, and forever? Absolutely.
Yes.
Because there comes a certain point where you can no longer make that decision. Well, Brandon, if I ask for forgiveness, if I ask for mercy, if I profess Christ as Lord, am I forgiven? Absolutely. But there's still a time where you won't be. Well, when is that? When you are dead. Whatever way a tree falls, it lays. That's the Word of God. If you die, if you're in right standing with God, if you have professed Christ as Lord and, hello, you'll go to heaven. But if you're a tree and you fall, hello, the Word says that a tree is judged by its fruits. And a tree that doesn't bear good fruits, it's cut down and it's thrown into the fire.
Yes. Yes.
They had made their choice too late.
Too little, too late.
God had promised them that they could go and inherit it. They didn't take the promise. And because they knew of the consequences, because of the decision they made, all the people, then they tried to change it, but it was too late.
Yes. Yes.
There's not a person in hell that doesn't wish they had made the right decision.
Oh, I know.
And that's a scary
Yes.
thought.
Yes, it
And
is.
we know that there are people who are conscious, who are awake, and who are aware of not only where their situation is, but they're also aware of the situation of the people that are here. Well, how do we know this? Well, I don't want to say they're 100% aware. I spoke a little bit too quickly, but let me give you an example. Jesus spoke about the rich man, and he spoke about Lazarus. Hello?
Yes.
When Lazarus died, he was carried by angels into the bosom of Abraham. Meaning he was comforted, he was protected, he wasn't taken to heaven, nobody made it there until Jesus. But there was the waiting place, amen? There was the waiting side of hell, and then there was the suffering side. And what did this rich man say? And going back to that, I passed over one part that I wanted to really make mention. He said a certain man.
Yes.
And the implication behind that is that he knew him. That's scary. But the point I'm trying to make about the people who are there, they are aware of the people that are still here. Because what's the one thing that this rich man was pleading with Abraham? He said, I still have brothers. I can't imagine that hurt. I still have brothers.
Yes.
Please send your servant to listen to you.
Yes.
He didn't say send me because he knew once he was there he would never get out. Please, my brothers, send your servant. They'll surely believe one who rose from the dead. Jesus prophetically speaking of himself. And he said, no, they won't believe one who rose from the dead. They had the prophets. They had their chance. They had all the warnings in the world. There's not a, hello?
Amen.
We used to hand out tracts on Saturday, me and Tim. We'd go down and we'd give them to people, and he'd be in front of me and I'd be behind him. I'd try to catch the ones that he missed, right? I'll never forget it. The one woman, she looked at him with such a smile on her face. She was, it's almost like she was rejoicing. I'm like, oh yeah, she's receptive. She's like, thank you. And she took it in her hand, and he's up ahead of me and I'm walking behind him. She crumbles it up in her hand and she throws it on the ground.